Hello, everybody. Welcome to Agoric's 12th community call. It is somehow September in 2021, and I'm Roland Grouse, product manager at Agoric, and excited to have everybody here with me. I'm going to take you all through our update for the month, and we've got a bunch of things to talk about, so excited to get rolling here. So to start with, here's the agenda. We're gonna talk through what's up with Mainnet Phase 0, go through some details on the Kepler wallet integration. We'll do a recap of the incentivized testnet phase 4.5, which was a big effort for the team and also the incentivized testnet validators in August. Go through Gitcoin bounties and then talk about some events that are coming up for Agoric. Okay, so Mainnet Phase 0. You guys have been hearing about this for a little while now, and I will say that we probably could have communicated better as the date slipped on Mainnet Phase 0. It is launching this month. Dean has been working madly with lawyers, which is his favorite thing to do in the entire world. He's been buried in paperwork, and there really hasn't been a technical reason for the slip, other than actually a recent Cosmos bug that the Cosmos folks caught and that we're updating to move with. But it really just has been a paperwork thing. So as Dean and the team work through that, that will get done this month, and we're really excited for that launch. As a reminder, and for those of you that have been around, you've heard us explain this, but as a reminder, Mainnet Phase 0 really it is the Cosmos SDK layer 1 chain, and so all of the stuff that we have been testing in the incentivized testnet for the last 3 phases has really been the Agoric VM JavaScript layer stuff. None of that is launching with Cosmos with Mainnet Phase 0. So staking and governance will be enabled. Transfers likely won't be enabled at start. So really, it will be a chain that will have basic staking and governance capabilities. And as we actually do the launch, we will be distributing build tokens to validators and other backers. So along those lines, we have the Kepler wallet integration live. And if you go to wallet.kepler.app, you'll see the details there. There's also a Medium post that goes through how to install Kepler, how to connect and add the Agoric chain. And for validators and other backers that are looking forward to Mainnet Phase 0 and receiving tokens, please go ahead and follow those instructions and get that done. So we'll be sending out tweets and talking on Discord about this as well. The Kepler integration will support build now for Mainnet Phase 0. It will also support run when Mainnet Phase 1 launches. As a reminder, run is the stablecoin. It is mintable through the treasury and potentially other means, but will not exist until the JavaScript layer actually is launched. So that's Mainnet Phase 1. But once it does, Kepler will support it. And Kepler will also support staking, governance, and cross-chain transfers, IBC transfers, when those are enabled for us. Great. Okay, so let's move on to the testnet phase 4.5 recap. So we started it August 18th, and that ran through the end of August. The goal of 4.5 was to test a proof of concept of our gas model, our contract metering model. So coming up to this phase, we had a lot of different threads that came together, which was allowing the kernel to count computrons count the amount of computation that was happening in a contract execution, which we're calling computrons. We plumbed that all the way through Zoe, which would allow the contract layer to understand how much to deduct in terms of run, and then also had tools for contract creators to charge the end user for transactions. So a bunch of different things happened to make that come together. And for the phase itself, the chain launched extremely smoothly, and then we saw some definite strain during the phase. And for those of you that were validators, thanks for working through those with us. It was a lot of help getting both the performance data that you guys were collecting and the slog files that you sent in. And it was a hugely collaborative effort during the phase. So we really appreciate that. And to talk about it in a little bit more detail, I'm going to bring Michael Fig on. And those of you who are in Discord and active will remember Michael. He's very active there. So Michael, let's chat.
Hi, Roland. Hi, everybody.
So Michael's software engineer at Agoric. He ends up touching a whole bunch of stuff. I think his official role is DevOps, but frankly, I don't even know. He ends up doing things at a bunch of different layers. But a lot of the chain launch stuff is specifically Michael. And I guess to start with, Michael, I'd love to just get your view on what happened during the phase.
Yeah, so it was really interesting. We really learned a lot from the different challenges that we faced. For the most part, some of the new features that we were testing went pretty smoothly. One of the biggest problems we had was that when people ran their solo clients to interact with the treasury, we were having a lot of problems getting those solo clients up and running, especially with the faucet that was dispensing tokens. We had a number of problems around that. And the RPC nodes were generally pretty unresponsive. And this was something that we just kept throwing more hardware at to try to get it working. But it wasn't doing that well. And finally, we had one problem with the AMM, where fortunately, Zoe offered safety to protect people so they didn't lose their tokens when the trades failed. But trades that we would have expected to go through didn't. So those are the main challenges that we faced.
So talk a little bit more about RPC nodes and what was happening there.
Sure. So basically, what makes our chain different from other Cosmos chains is that we have really high utilization. So unlike some other chains which are planning on just having pretty low utilization and the transactions they process are just a small part of the time that the validators spend, we expect that there's always going to be a huge pile of work waiting for us. And this is kind of a never-ending problem. As we make optimizations, what we expect to happen is that more people are going to use our services as they get faster. So it's just going to be this never-ending race to improve performance and also scale up. But specifically around the RPC nodes, what we found is that our chain is doing about 8 to 10 seconds of computation per block. And then there's like a period of about 600 milliseconds to 1 second of voting. And then it goes back into another 8 to 10 seconds of computation. And what we found is that the Tendermint ABCI protocol had a lock around it that basically prevented RPC from going through. So no queries or transactions could be submitted while this chain was waiting for our computation to occur. So the RPC nodes were basically only spending like 600 milliseconds answering requests, and then they just block for 8 to 10 seconds again. So yeah, so that was the main RPC issue.
And so this is something that other chains have dealt with as well, and that we sort of worked on both during and after the phase. So can you talk a little bit about what that work was and maybe some of the results there?
Yeah. So the as far as the ABCI lock, there was a minor issue in Cosmos where they were sending things through the lock in order to slow down gRPC requests, but I think it was specifically Terra that found a way to improve the IAVL database tree, the IAVL tree. And so Cosmos SDK could remove that locking for gRPC queries. But the underlying issue of not allowing queries during computation, that's gone back a long time. I was looking back in the logs and it was there at least since 2018. So I think that's something quite unique to us. And it's probably, I mean, I think if the osmosis folks are doing these kinds of things too, where they're calculating a lot of reward distribution, they probably would notice that their RPC nodes are just unresponsive during that time.
Right. So, and given the investigation that you and others on the team have been doing, any progress to report or anything that we can talk about there?
Yeah, definitely. We really have been trying to schedule the kind of work that would improve the situation most for everybody to remove some of the bottlenecks. So I did an experiment where I did less locking in the ABCI implementation. And I found that rather than nodes averaging 80 requests per second when receiving RPC, I was able to bump that up to 4,000 requests a second. So, so
that's a little better, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the fact that that should be a significant help for our chain. And there's very little interruption. There are still some little bits that we'll be working with the Cosmos team and everybody else who has been working on these kinds of issues to help improve this, and to importantly do it in a way that ensures stability. Because the little hack that I did is great, but it's not the full picture, and we always rely very heavily on the other people that we do. So especially shout out to Marco and to Zaki for helping us on these kinds of issues and making sure they don't get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, no, it's great to see this also just being a collaborative effort building on top of the work that Terra had done. And, that's sort of one of the great things about just generally the Cosmos ecosystem being able to all contribute to these issues together.
Yeah, it's terrific. It's really, I mean, Cosmos and Tendermint both are heading towards these wonderful packages that do all the work in the right way for so many different situations. And I'm quite impressed that we can actually use it quite successfully for Agoric chain. The other thing was that the egg solo to chain communications were pretty slow. And the next thing that we're working on is to get them using Cosmos events instead of polling each block for new mailbox updates. So this will at least reduce the amount of work to the bare minimum of what's required for solo to chain communication. Mm-hmm. So that also takes RPC out of the hot bath a little bit.
Got it. Yeah, and for those of you validators that we're seeing slowness in connections for the setup for the treasury and for the launch of the wallet, that's also an area that we're looking to optimize, and had known for a long time that we needed to and just hadn't prioritized it. But as we start getting towards mainnet phase 1, those will start to be high priority items.
Yeah, and I just want to add, of course, optimization for us is ongoing. Like, as anybody knows who works in DevOps or in software engineering, you solve one problem and it just reveals another bottleneck. So you always increase your capacity, but there's always going to be something that is the problem to be solved next. So we're in an arms race forever, so this will be fun.
Yeah, life is just a series of finding the bottleneck and solving the bottleneck and then starting over, right? That's well, great. So Michael, I really appreciate the insight here, and you coming onto the community call, and I know all the validators have appreciated your help and the help of Dan and the rest of the team during the incentivized testnet. So thank you for all that.
Great, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna take you down now. Thanks, Michael.
Sure.
Okay, and I saw a question come in, when testnet phase 5, and so that's a good question. I actually didn't have it in my slides here. I think in terms of timing there, testnet phase 5 was the adversarial phase, and the way we are thinking about that is we want to make sure that the chain and what we are launching and testing is in a spot where it's ready to receive adversarial attacks. And so the guidance that we're looking to give is we will give a month's notice prior to the adversarial phase starting, but that there is not a date as of right now. So ICO viewer, hope that answers your question here. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna move on and talk about, so if you are a validator, what is coming next? So I guess what I would say is just thank you. The incentivized testnet has been a long process, and as I just mentioned, we do have a phase 5 coming. That will be some point in the future. But for those of you that have come through these phases with us, it's been a great journey, and we have learned so much around what we need to focus on as we come towards mainnet phase 1. All the issues that we worked through in different phases were sort of the exact kinds of things that we wanted to see or find out as part of this. Michael brought up AMM issues during the last phase, which was interesting to see because despite the fact that we had those challenges, we were able to see that Zoe was protecting people's funds. And so it was sort of an unintentional test of the Zoe infrastructure to make sure that as the AMM failed, it failed well, and it failed in a way that didn't cause people to lose their money, which is just really good validation on our side. So all of this has been extremely good learning for us, and we're still working through it, and all of that will be inputs to next phases. I mentioned already, I already talked through Mainnet Phase 0. So again, I say soon there, that I'm mostly just joking, but that is this month, as soon as Dean pulls himself through all the paperwork mess. So those of you that are expecting communications from us around paperwork, those will be coming. For the wallet setup, we'll be tweeting out and talking through more details there, but the setup instructions are live now. And so we will be starting to collect addresses. The other piece is that we have had a DevNet running for quite some time now, and thank you to those of you who have been helping with the DevNet. I know that's been a thankless task in many ways, but especially as the incentivized testnet sort of winds down, at least for now, the DevNet is going to start getting a little bit more active and continuous attention from us. So we had the live DevNet. We're going to start integrating that with more continuous performance testing. As we want to make sure that as we're pushing fixes to garbage collection or whatever it might be that's trying to solve some of the perf issues that we saw in the last phase, that we're able to see that updating in real time. So yeah, Dean says, thank you for helping with the DevNet. Yes, it's super important, and it will continue to be important. So really appreciate validators that have been keeping that up. And for those of you incentivized testnet validators, would encourage you to keep your DevNet, move over to the DevNet if you're not there, keep a validator running. And as we come into Mainnet, we know that we've observed other chains. We've seen that there are best practices around whether if the Agoric opco has tokens to delegate, we want to make sure that we're doing that to validators that have been supporting us, helping us test, and all of those things. So we will have programs upcoming, and I think assume that if you are active in the community and working with us to help us work through performance stuff as we launch new things, that will be smiled on favorably to the extent we have the ability to, and then we presume that the foundation or eventual foundation will likely do the same thing. So really do appreciate everybody helping out with that. And so there will be more details specifically coming on that, but nothing specific to announce at the moment. All right, so moving topics here. So we've talked about our bounty program in the last few calls. We were excited to have the first bounty actually complete this past month. So we had a Chainlink aggregation contract complete by one bounty hunter, and I think a friend worked with him. That was really great work, and we really appreciated it. We also have, we've had a lot of good work on 2 active bounties as well. One bounty, the loan protocol, we sort of realized was likely larger than we had expected it to be. So we're rethinking that, and that's all sort of going into input as we create new bounties here. There are a few that are open right now that we're actively starting to talk to people about, and then more coming. So as the bounty program ramps up, we have a long list of things that we want to get built and have other people build. But if you're coming to us and you have ideas as well, we're always open to that. So please do either reach out to me, DM in Discord, or something along those lines, and we can chat about what you might want to build and whether that would fit into the bounty program. All right, so a few events coming up. So Dean is having an AMA, and I think September 13th is next Monday, I believe. So definitely join that. Ask him some hard questions. He really likes fielding those, and that should be a good time. And Dean is also presenting at Masari Mainnet. So Mainnet is September 20th to the 22nd. And I'm not sure actually which day the presentation is, but we'll be giving a demo and talking through one aspect of what we expect in sort of the Mainnet Phase 1 kind of timeline. And we will be there as well. So there will be several Agoric folks at Masari Mainnet. So if you're there, feel free to find us, reach out to us, and that should be an excellent event as well. And then Hack This Fall is coming in October. So Hack This Fall is actually a broader hackathon, not just crypto focused. And so it's bringing in a broader range of developers. If you want to participate in the hackathon, you definitely should. We have 3 speakers. So Dean, Kate, and myself, we're all going to be speaking on the same day ahead of time. So this timeline is actually next week, I believe, or the week after. Yeah, September 17th. So please do join Hack this fall. It's going to be a good hackathon and also a good way for us to start branching out to the mainstream audience, which is part of Agoric's goal. As a JavaScript smart contract platform, we want to be able to connect with JavaScript developers specifically. And so, you can see I'm giving a talk on Introduction to Decentralized Finance. It's really sort of geared towards people that may not be as familiar with the blockchain space. And then just community contests coming to channels on Telegram. So I'll let Santi add in more details there, but just look out for that coming. Really excited about that. And then finally, we have our roles, several roles still open. So we've been fortunate to fill a bunch of roles recently, and welcome to the Agoric team members that are watching a community call for the first time as employees. But we are still looking for more. So looking in particular for the DevRel, information architect, the front-end app developer, which is really sort of contract developer, and the director of engineering, as well as the administrative assistant. So if any of these roles sound like you, and especially if you've been in the community, please do reach out. And definitely hiring is something that we're very focused on. So really excited to bring in not only the people that have just started, but these roles as well. All right. So I saw a few questions come in. I think we kind of handled most of them that came in during the talk, but if there are any other questions, I'll hang out here for 20 or 30 seconds and answer them live. Otherwise, as always, find us on Discord and ask there as well. And we're starting to see, especially with the incentivized testnet, we're seeing community members helping each other with questions, which is just so, the OpCo, we're so excited to sort of see the community building happening there. But yeah, feel free to ask now if you've got anything additional. All right. So with that, I'll end the talk, and we will be in touch at least at the next community call, if not before. Thanks so much.